Let me know if y'all think reparations are needed. I want to know what y'all think.
Today, our government has a moral and legal obligation to right those wrongs, and reparations are a necessary step towards achieving justice. I think it's really important in these times that we call a thing a thing. We're in a moment of anti-blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice.
Hey y'all, it's your boy Gabriel. We back, y'all. The torch has been passed. The HR-40 has been passed. This HR-40 bill was brought into fruition or brought into reality by the late great Representative Shelia Jackson Lee. And she's out of Houston, Texas, and recently passed. And I'm glad that her work has not died, because she was a fighter. She fought to the death of her for the HR-40. And she had a vision and she stuck with it. And I'm glad to see that this has not died out. And the torch has been passed to Representative Ayanna Pressley, who is another fighter we have in Congress right now. If y'all don't know, the HR-40, it's about reparations for black people and those that have the ancestors who were slaves, African descent, slavery, all of that stuff. So it's a lot more that goes into that, and we're going to get more into that on another video. But I want y'all to see this video if you haven't seen it already. Just Representative Ayanna Pressley just talking how the torch has been passed to her and how the fight is going to continue. And really, she's going to dive into what HR-40 is as well. So y'all check out the video. Let me know if y'all think reparations are needed. I want to know what y'all think. Check out the video.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you everyone for braving the inclement weather as we gather to take an essential step forward in the long and ongoing fight for justice, accountability, and healing for Black America. Today, I'm deeply honored to reintroduce HR-40, historic legislation to establish a federal commission to examine the lasting legacy of slavery, to develop reparations proposals for descendants of enslaved Africans. It is an honor to inherit the privilege of carrying this bill forward. Amen. From Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee. In my last correspondence with her, she said, "Keep working on our priorities and never give up." She was the previous House sponsor of HR-40 and a true giant in the movement for reparative justice. We are grateful for her leadership. We are grateful for her example and her voice. May she rest in peace and power. And we are grateful to be joined here today by her daughter, former Congresswoman Erica Lee Carter, who today, when I thanked her for braving the elements to journey here, said true justice is never convenient. I want to acknowledge some of our partners in good trouble in this fight. Senator Cory Booker, our co-lead in the Senate, Chairwoman Yvette Clarke of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, Congresswoman Latifah Simon, Congresswoman Summer Lee, and the more than 70 members of Congress who have signed on to co-sponsor the legislation that was first introduced. And I want to make this point because it is Black History Month. And while there are those that are working actively, either to erase our history or to whitewash it, that I'm here in this moment to pick up the mantle of this historic legislation that has been championed by John Conyers, Congressman John Conyers, Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee. That was introduced more than 30 years ago when Congressman John Conyers was a co-founder of the Congressional Black Caucus. We're at a critical inflection point in America, and the moment cannot be more urgent. With Black history under attack and white supremacy emboldened, there is no better time to introduce this bill than during Black History Month, a time when we reflect on our history, our struggle, and our collective power. And I'll say, it is also not only about Black history, but it is about Black futures. More than 4 centuries ago, Africans were kidnapped, trafficked and enslaved, forced to build this country under horrific brutality, an economy which we still benefit from today. Rice, sugar, tobacco, cotton. And even after the Civil War, emancipation, and the 13th Amendment, the legacy of slavery endured in other forms, codified in law to deny Black Americans freedom, opportunity, and dignity. And that's what brings us here today. This brutality, these injustices, these horrors were not things just happened within the culture by osmosis. They were legislated. Today, with Donald Trump and Republicans waging their coordinated and at times unlawful assault on Black folks and Black history, we will not allow that history to be erased. We will not allow it to be whitewashed. HR-40 is a powerful reminder of the work that remains and offers us a pathway toward truth, reconciliation, and accountability. To be clear, this bill is not a symbolic gesture, but rather a meaningful step toward repairing the deep structural injustices that continue to harm Black communities today. The racial wealth gap in America is not an accident. In Boston, my home city, the Federal Reserve counts Black wealth at just $8, compared to the wealth of white households at $247,500. Nationwide, the racial wealth gap is over 10 trillion. That's trillion with a T. This shameful reality is the direct result of generations of precise, intentional policy harm codified into our laws and budgets. And it is specifically the result of slavery and the anti-Black society that followed. From Jim Crow to redlining to mass incarceration, our government, through policies and budgets, has perpetuated and entrenched these harms for generations. The disparities that we see in health outcomes, housing, education, wealth, and more are by design. Today, our government has a moral and legal obligation to right those wrongs, and reparations are a necessary step towards achieving justice. Now, here's what the bill would do. HR-40 creates a federal commission, an expert body charged with investigating the enduring impacts of slavery and its aftermath, and developing concrete proposals for reparations. This is a pragmatic policy that is fundamentally about repairing harm and building a more just America. Whether you are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Trenton, New Jersey, or Mattapan in the Massachusetts 7th Congressional District, this is about ensuring that every person has a fair chance at the American dream. Now, I know some like to think that Rosa sat, Martin marched, and John crossed a bridge, and we were free. But we are still very much in the civil rights movement. Every day, the progress that we have fought for, the gains that have been made, are under assault and being rolled back. Donald Trump and his co-president Elon Musk and their enablers in Congress and the courts are working overtime to strip away our rights, from gutting affirmative action, dismantling voting rights, to attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that benefit Black folks and everyone who calls this country home. I think it's really important in these times that we call a thing a thing. We're in a moment of anti-Blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. And while we do the work of resistance and blunting the many harms of this hostile, anti-Black administration, it's imperative that we continue advancing an affirmative agenda for Black America and building momentum toward this critical priority. So today we have a choice. We can continue to uphold an unjust status quo, or we can work actively to disrupt it. We can allow our history to be erased, or we can actively engage in truth-telling. We can and we must confront our past and take meaningful steps to repair the harm that has been done. HR-40 is an opportunity to do exactly that.
So in my opinion, y'all, reparations are needed. I don't want to get too much into reparations. I did want y'all to see this video because there's another video that I want to do that I'm going to dive into more on why I think that reparations are needed. I know there are so many that disagrees, even people of color, but we're going to dive into that more. So I really want to know what y'all think, but this HR-40 bill is needed. This HR-40 needs to continue. The legacy needs to continue. I'm so glad that we have the entire Democratic Black Caucus party stepping up taking on this mantle, taking on the mission to fight against this white supremacy that we have going on right now, because it's running rampant. Jim Crow 2.0, like she said, it's serious. They are really trying to reinvent the Jim Crow. And if they could take us back further, they really want that. That white supremacy wants to be on top by all means necessary. And so we need these things, these committees, these people fighting to put a hold on that, to slow down that white supremacy attack on us. We are still in a fight, y'all. Just because they wrote on paper that we are equal, we have all the same rights, doesn't mean that racism just went away. Oh, y'all are free. Oh, y'all are equal now. Does not mean people don't have hatred in their heart for black people. Don't mean people still hold on to those old ideologies of black people and don't even consider us humans or a person. Like, come on now. That stuff is still running rampant right now, as you can see in the government that we have right now. Look at the person that we have in the chair, the president chair. Come on now. The ultimate white supremacist. The leader, the king, their god of all the white supremacist groups, did a blanket pardon on all of them. He don't care. If they are for him in the way that he thinks, then yes. So we have to counteract this. We have to combat this. We have to fight against this. And reparations are needed. And I'm glad this is not dying, because we will not shut up until this is resolved. We will continue to fight. And just because a person has went on, rest in peace, Shelia Jackson Lee, does not mean there's not more fighters right behind, ready to pick up the torch, ready to fight against this. So all I can say is we not gonna shut up, and y'all gonna keep being prepared to fight. Y'all gonna keep being ready. Y'all gonna keep being ready to combat against us, because we not shutting up about this. It's a lot of blood that was shed on American history. It really was. And just because we acknowledge American history does not mean it's going to hinder the future at all either. But it is American history. Not just black history, it's American history that you're trying to erase out of the school system. So don't get me. So we're going to talk about this on another video. I wanted y'all to see this. And I'm so proud of Representative Ayanna Pressley. She's been fighting. I've been loving what I'm seeing from her. And I'll catch y'all on the next video. Y'all subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, and peace.